you and Tarquin aren't interested in girls. What a comfort that is to a mother's heart, dear.
I thought Patricia played it wonderfully in that she was so totally unaware of, you know, a different actress might have played it more knowingly, who knows? Honestly, do you ever wonder why Sheridan shows no interest in girls?
Do you think I should take a few of my favourite ornaments?
The character of Sheridan exemplifies a pet theory of mine that you can get away with murder if you don't actually show it.
But the cast found that Roy was even more elusive than Sheridan. The show's creator didn't like to attend rehearsals or recordings, and in 5 series visited the set just once.
And Harold said, you're all allowed to ask him one question.
And I said, am I married, you see? And he said, oh, I don't know. Oh, I said, well, am I a single mother? Well, I don't know. You know, she can have a husband if you like. So I said, well, is he away or is he there? I mean, he could be working in the oil fields. It doesn't really matter. You know, it's all right. I don't mind. Oh, so I said, right. And I wandered away thinking, well, I still do. I'm none the wiser.
I'm a writer and I'm nothing but a writer. When I submit a script, I've got no interest in producing it, directing it, and I leave it to people.
It's a great pity that Roy Clarke and I didn't see eye to eye during the making of Keeping Up Appearances.
I watched on occasions and found scenes I hadn't written. And that's, of course, death to a writer. You can't have it. And that was the problem.
Roy Clarke would never actually accept the fact that anything was wrong with his scripts. So when I found a bit that I didn't think this didn't work, I had no alternative but to rewrite large chunks myself. With the blessing of the BBC, they were very happy that I did, and they just left it to me to get on with it.
The BBC eventually brought in a script editor to act as peacemaker, and it's a mark of Keeping Up Appearances' success that the corporation worked so hard to overcome the writer and producer being at loggerheads. A lesser show might have got completely bogged down.
There were differences in temper between myself and Harold, and I have warm feelings about Keeping Up Appearances despite any of the troubles that we had, which are par for the course in many a production anyway.
And at times we weren't the best of mates over that, but the final analysis is that in the end it did work extremely well.
Is there anything Just give me time to recover my composure and then come and take tea with me at 3:25.
Josephine Tewson, Hyacinth's next-door neighbour Elizabeth, was one of Harold Snowd's comedy favourites. She first worked with him on The Dick Emery Show.
Oh, he played me a dirty trick, he did.
Sir Thomas, whatever did he do, dear?
He deliberately gave me the wrong date for a concert at the Albert Hall. I turned up there at 8 o'clock, and by 5 past, I was in the ring fighting for my life with Rocky Marciano.
He cast her again as the housekeeper, alongside Ronnie Barker and David Jason in His Lordship Entertains. Then she moved upstairs, playing Lady Cynthia in Elementary, My Dear Watson, with John Cleese and Willie Rushton.
Did I ever tell you the story of my first marriage? Well, I was a young girl of 17. 21.
After Harold cast Josephine again in No Appointment Necessary, he felt there'd be great comedy chemistry if he moved her in next door to Hyacinth.
Patricia Routledge has an excellent sense of farce, which, when I put that together with Joe Tewson, who also is very farcely inclined, I mean, wonderful, the two of them were absolute magic.
When Hyacinth's not watching, I can handle Royal Doulton as well as the next person. It's perfectly simple. You just take hold of it firmly but gently. You raise it carefully.
And Roy Clarke had written Hyacinth offstage calling Elizabeth and me rattling the cup and putting it down. And I thought, it's a bit tame after some of the things we've done. So I said to Pat, how good are you at catching things, Pat? And she said, oh, yes, yes.
So why can't I do it when Hyacinth's here? Elizabeth!
While Roy Clarke created Elizabeth simply to be intimidated by Hyacinth, Her sisters Rose and Daisy and brother-in-law Onslow were designed to embarrass Hyacinth by reminding her of exactly where she came from.
We were the slobs, and Hyacinth was snob.
Wait a minute. Daisy, again, another wonderful creation by Judy Cornwell, of a child bride with her hopes of romance.
You're so attractive to women.
I'm work-shy, bone-idle and out of condition. What makes you think I'm attractive to women?
I married you, didn't I?
And I found this wonderful grey cardigan, which was awful. It was out of shape. It was something you could sleep in or wrap round a dog. And I said, oh, no, that's the one. That's the one I love. That's her cardigan, her favourite one.
Now, you'll not find this in your romantic novels. But if you're going to wear a see-through nightie, don't wear a vest.
I think one of my favourite characters in the show was Onslow. I mean, Geoffrey Hughes was marvellous as that Onslow, and his relationship with his wife became very, very popular. But again, he was designed to embarrass Hyacinth and couldn't have been more effective at it.
Morning, Onslow.
Don't say good morning to him when I've just been savaged by his dog.
Less noise, you daft bitch. And that goes for you as well, dog.
In Series 2, Roy Clarke introduced David Griffin as the faint-hearted Emmet, Elizabeth's brother.
She's been singing at me, Liz.
He was someone for Hyacinth both to look up to and fondly imagine herself the social equal of.
We're invited to a candlelight supper tonight.
Well, that was inevitable.
He loved his music and he loved his job as a music teacher. He was also running the local amateur operatic society. And if there was one thing that Hyacinth would have liked to have been, or was aiming at, was being the leading light of the amateur operatic society.
He gave a wonderful extra lift to the series so that she had somebody, she had to woo him in some way or other to get what she wanted. She couldn't browbeat him into it.
I'd be caught hiding behind a screen or behind the bushes. She would never actually say that I was trying to avoid her. I mean, it was because I was so shy.
Was that Emmet?
He must have forgotten something in the house.
No, dear. I'm afraid it's me. I rather think I send his senses reeling. Dear Emmet.
With Keeping Up Appearances steamrollering on its merry way, the winning team of Roy Clarke and Harold Snowd combined on another BBC sitcom starring Tony Britton, Susan Hampshire and Caroline Quentin. But despite its pedigree and classic sitcom title, Don't Tell Father just didn't have that special something.
Where's Garth?
Behind the sofa.
What's he doing?
Meditating. Trying to remember his song.
That never totally took off, but it was fun to do.
It's still not clear why some things happen and others don't. The same amount of energy goes into them. If it doesn't hit that spot, you've not got a winner.
Keeping Up Appearances came to an end because Patricia, to be perfectly frank, wanted to move on to do something else.
I decided to part company with Hyacinth because there were other adventures to have. I'm an actor and I like to play other roles.
First on the list of adventures was a trip into Miss Marpleshire, as Patricia Routledge swapped Hyacinth for Hetty Wainthropp, the 60-something crime buster. And in between regular returns to the theatre, she appeared on television in the second helping of Alan Bennett's Talking Heads.
She didn't want to simply end her career by being known as Hyacinth Bouquet, because she'd made it so much her own, obviously. And so I take my hat off to her in that respect. I know that Harold was extremely disappointed because, in a way, to cut a thing off in its prime almost.
I told you, they're going away.
But the other thing is, of course, to go out kind of on top at one's peak.
That was quite a send-off. We must never move, dear. We'd be greatly missed.
I don't think the other cast members were thrilled silly that they weren't going to do any more, because they all enjoyed it, they loved the parts, and they obviously were glad to be part of a success. But without the star, what could you do, really?
We all knew it could go on, and we knew the BBC wanted it to go on, but we knew Pat didn't want to do any more, and so everybody was sort of waiting to see what happened.
I think for a while they were hanging on, hoping Patricia would change her mind and come back and do more. So I don't think they wanted to tackle anything that might get in the way of that. And then by the time that it dawned that she was serious and that she wasn't coming back, it had become too late, I think.
Roy Clarke still had a few more drops of summer wine to squeeze out, and the show enjoyed a guest appearance from Josephine Tewson.
You promised me marriage?
No, I never said marriage. I may have said garage. Would you excuse us a minute?
Oh, he's so strong when he's roused. I call him my Hercules.
Clive Swift starred in The Aristocrats before going back into the church in 2002 as Reverend Brewer in the BBC's Born and Bred.
The man of the cloth, you have the look of the devil.
The Lord moves in mysterious ways his wonders to perform.
Before appearing regularly in Heartbeat, the nation's favourite slob, Geoffrey Hughes, changed his vest but not much else to play Twiggy in the royal family.
Wash and go. You know, the stuff in the ad where that bird washes and pisses off. Well, it's the genuine stuff, only it's got a Arabic writing on it. 50p a bottle.
No, thanks.
Oh, please yourself.
No, go on then, Twiggy. I'll have 2 quid's worth.
I'll tell you what, as you're my best-looking customer, I'll chuck in a box of panty pads. How's that?
Right.
Since finishing up in 1995, Keeping Up Appearances has found a new audience abroad, becoming an unexpected worldwide hit as it flies the flowery flag.
Are you sure you're playing the right note? I suppose Irving knew what he was doing.
And it is huge in America at the moment, because I think the Americans think that Hyacinth is the typical British middle-class lady.
But then you've got Israel loving it, India loving it, China loving it.
I believe it's sold in over 45 countries.
I'm very big in Botswana, you know. I love saying that.
Went to battle with someone's heard of. Can't keep it going faster. Look, you told me he'd been certificated.